Thank you, Madam Acting Deputy President. Let's have a bit of fun with some facts. Neither H2O, water, nor CO2, carbon dioxide, are pollutants. Neither water nor carbon dioxide is a pollutant. The two products from burning hydrocarbon fuels, coal, oil, natural gas, are water and carbon dioxide. We have carbon in every cell of our bodies. The term organic refers to something that contains carbon. Earth, the thing that makes our planet so livable, the thing that makes our planet so unique, is the fact that we have more carbon concentrated on our planet than is the case in the universe, across the universe. Carbon is essential for life. But the Greens don't understand that carbon is not carbon dioxide. They tell us that we need to cut our carbon dioxide from the use of coal, oil and natural gas, but then talk about carbon. Carbon dioxide is a gas, carbon is a solid in every cell of your bodies. Every cell of your bodies. So let's deal with some facts. Let's have a bit of fun. Carbon dioxide is just 0.04% of Earth's air. That is 4/100ths of a percent. 4/100ths of 1%. Now, it's scientifically classified as a trace gas because there's so little of it. There's barely a trace of it. Now, some people are going to say, oh, but cyanide can kill you with just a trace. That's true. That's a chemical effect. But the carbon dioxide, claimed effect of carbon dioxide from the Greens and global warming and climate catastrophe and the greatest existential threat that we face now, is a physical effect. And a trace gas has no physical effect that can be recorded. And that, as I'll show you in a minute. Next point, carbon dioxide is non-toxic and not noxious. It's highly beneficial to and essential for all plants on this planet. Everything green that's natural relies upon carbon dioxide. And it benefits when the carbon dioxide levels are far higher than now. Carbon dioxide is colourless, odourless and tasteless. Nature produces, and this is from the United Nations climate body, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, nature produces 97% of the carbon dioxide produced annually on our planet. That means that nature produces 32 times more than the entire human production of carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide does not discolour the air. Carbon dioxide does not impair the quality of water or soil. None of what I'm talking about is new. I've compiled it, but none of it's new. Carbon dioxide does not create light, does not create heat, does not create noise, does not create radioactivity. It doesn't distort our senses. It does not degrade the environment, nor impair its usefulness, nor render our environment offensive. Carbon dioxide does not harm ecosystems, and in fact is essential for all ecosystems. Carbon dioxide does not harm plants and animals, nor humans. In fact, we put it in our kids' soft drink, we put it in our champagne, we put it in our beer, we put it in soda water, we carbonate it by putting carbon dioxide in there. It's essential for all plants and animals. Carbon dioxide does not cause discomfort, doesn't cause instability, wooziness, disorder of any kind. It does not accumulate. It does not upset nature's balance. It's essential for nature and life on this planet. It remains in the air for only a short time before nature cycles it into plants, animal tissue, the oceans and natural accumulations. It does not contaminate apart from nature's extremely high and concentrated volumes of carbon dioxide from some volcanoes, and then only locally and briefly under rare natural conditions when in concentrations and amounts far higher than anything humans can produce. Carbon dioxide is not a foreign substance. In the past, on this planet, under the current atmosphere, there have been times when carbon dioxide levels were 130 times higher than the concentration in the Earth today. In fact, in the last 200 years, scientists have measured carbon dioxide levels up to 40% higher than they are today. But the IPCC, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change from the UN, ignores those measurements, which were taken in some cases by Nobel Science Prize winners. And all they do instead is take one reading from one place over the last 70 years. As you can see from the list I've just read, carbon dioxide is not pollution. And the Greens are talking about doing an inquiry into carbon, yet they say that it's the carbon dioxide that's causing this climate change that is supposedly going on. So let's look at something else then. So carbon dioxide is not a pollutant. So the second stage then, let's have a look at this climate change crisis that the Greens are talking about. Well, I am unique in this Senate for holding the CSIRO accountable. All of the other senators have not done their job, and Senator MacDonald is the person who's pointed that out to me. Senator Ian MacDonald in the Senate in 2016, he pointed out that no one in this parliament has ever debated the science until I arrived. We still haven't had the debate because I've challenged the Greens. More than 525 days have they gone without responding to my challenge for a debate. Larissa Waters, Senator Waters, has gone more than 10 years, 10 and a quarter years now, without responding to my challenge for a debate. They won't debate me because they haven't got the science. So let's listen to the people who the Greens rely on for their science. So in my cross-examination of the CSIRO, and I've had 3 presentations and several sessions with Senate estimates, in their first presentation to me, under my cross-examination, the CSIRO admitted that they have never said that carbon dioxide from human activity is a threat, is a danger. Never. We don't need any of these policies, that means. So let's go to the next session we had with the CSIRO, and each of these sessions were 2.5, 3 hours long. The CSIRO said that today's temperatures are not unprecedented. That means the current blip that ended back in 1995, we've had stasis of temperature since then, no warming since the last 26 years. The current temperatures are not unprecedented. Third point, the CSIRO admitted that they and other bodies around the world rely for their predictions on unvalidated, erroneous computer models. That says 2 things. First of all, the models are wrong, they're erroneous, and they're unvalidated, yet they're making projections on using those. The second thing it says is it confirms they don't have the evidence, because if they had the evidence, they would have presented it. Instead, they come up with some lame models, which have already failed. The fourth thing that I mentioned about the so-called science is that when they failed to provide me with the empirical evidence proving that carbon dioxide from human activity affects the climate and needs to be cut, I gave them a very simple test. Show me anything unprecedented in Earth's climate over the last 10,000 years. They failed that. So then I gave them the absolute simplest goal, and that was to simply provide me with scientific evidence, empirical evidence, showing that there has been a change, a statistically significant change in any factor in Earth's climate, and they failed that. They can't even point to a change in climate, because we all know that climate varies quite naturally, most of it cyclically, but sometimes combination of cycles make sure that it looks like it's highly random. So that's the point. Not only that, there are scientists who I've communicated with directly, including members who were lead authors for the United Nations Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. Dr. John Christie, for example, a lead author until he left that institute, because the United Nations climate body, because of the corruption. He was disgusted, sickened by it. These and many other scientists have confirmed to me that nowhere in the world has anyone ever presented any empirical scientific evidence showing that carbon dioxide from human activity affects climate and needs to be cut. Nowhere, anywhere. Not NASA's Goddard Institute of Space Studies, not NASA, not the UK Met Office, not the Bureau of Meteorology, not CSIRO, not any university, not any academic, not any science paper, not any journal. Check for yourself. Tell me if I'm wrong. The third thing I want to say is that the Greens' lunatic policies are based not on science. You'll notice that Senator Rice, in her comments, never once mentioned any proof of causation. Never once. Instead of substitutes for science, they use emotion, stories, fantasies, dreams, promises. That's all they have. Policy needs to be based on specific, quantified cause and effect. This much carbon dioxide is growing because of humans, and this much is the impact. Never has that been presented anywhere in the world. The CSIRO has failed 3 times with me, and never has it been done by anyone. So once we have that measured effect, which no one has produced so far, then and only then can we shape a policy. Then and only then can we measure the progress along the road of implementing that policy. Without that, it's fundamentally flawed. And then, if we had the connection specified, quantified, then we can cost it to see the benefits of Senator Rice's dreams and fantasies versus the impact on our human species of this climate madness that people are going on with. As a result of this madness, both the Liberal Nationals and the Labor Party have driven our electricity prices from being the lowest in the world to the highest in the world, all on unicorn farts, rainbows, nothing else, nothing substantial, claims of carbon pollution. And then we have this telling factor. The number one factor that has driven the last 170 years' rapid improvement in human standards of living has been the relentless decrease in prices of energy. From 1850 until about the mid-90s. And since then, in Australia, we have gone the other way. We've started to increase prices. And we've now doubled and tripled prices in some areas for electricity, and nothing has changed. Coal-fired power stations have become more efficient, and yet we have an increase in price because of the artificial regulations, the artificial impediments on the most productive and efficient source of electricity generation, the subsidies for the dreams of solar and wind, which are inherently high and will never catch up with coal or hydro or nuclear. So we have had a relentless increase in prices of electricity over the last 170 years until 25 years ago. That relentless decrease in price of electricity and energy meant an increase in productivity and an increase in wealth. That's what's led to humans now living longer, safer, easier, more comfortably, more healthily, and with far many choices than anyone could ever have imagined. This Greens lunacy, this calling carbon dioxide carbon, calling a gas a solid, is driving a decarbonisation that is, in effect, deindustrialisation. Deindustrialisation. Look around us. This is what will disappear, all the material benefits we've had over the last 150 years. Opinion and emotion is not science. There is no need to have this reference to the committee because there is no science underpinning the Greens' call for this reference. We need to get back to the facts, get back to straight logic, stop dreaming, and think about the many people who are benefiting from the wonderful hydrocarbon fuels, natural gas, coal and oil, and look after the people of this planet. Thank you.